I never thought I'd be the kind of guy who ends up writing a story like this online. But here we are. If you had told me a year ago that my own brother would try to sabotage my wedding, not once, but twice, I would have laughed in your face. But after everything that happened, I'm honestly not sure if I'll ever speak to him again. My fiancée Emma and I had been together for 5 years. She's the type of person everyone loves instantly. Warm, funny, the kind of woman who will bring homemade cookies to a neighbor she's met once. My brother Adam knew her well too, or at least he should have, considering he lived with my parents 10 minutes away and saw us constantly. Adam and I have always been complicated. He's 2 years younger than me, but he's always acted like I stole something from him. Attention, opportunities, affection, you name it. He's the classic life is unfair to me guy. I don't say that to insult him, but to paint the picture. Nothing is ever his fault, and everyone else is always luckier. Things got worse after I got engaged, even though Adam insisted he was happy for us. The way he said it always felt forced, like the words tasted sour in his mouth. He joked about us settling down too early. He joked about weddings being a waste of money. He joked about how I finally found someone willing to tolerate me. It was all just jokes, of course. Still, I wanted him at the wedding. I wanted him in my life. He was my brother. Emma picked her wedding dress months in advance. It wasn't extravagant or over the top. It was simple, elegant, and perfect for her. She cried when she tried it on. I'm not supposed to know that, but her maid of honor filmed the moment and later showed me because she said she had never seen Emma so happy. The dress meant something to her. 2 weeks before the wedding, Emma stored it at my parents' place because we were dealing with a small leak in our apartment closet. She placed it carefully in the guest room, far from pets, kids, and anything that could possibly stain or tear it. At least, that's what we thought. It was a Sunday afternoon when my mom called Emma, her voice trembling. I remember Emma putting the call on speaker, and I could hear my mom talking so fast she could barely breathe. "Sweetheart, something happened. It's the dress." Emma froze. I froze. My mom explained that Adam had been in the guest room looking for an old phone charger. That was his excuse anyway. Somehow, and I still don't know how you accidentally do this, he spilled an entire bottle of wood stain. Dark, sticky, permanent wood stain. All over the dress. My mom said she screamed when she walked in. She found Adam standing there, staring down at the ruined fabric, saying, "Oops," like he had dropped a sock on the floor. Emma drove to my parents' house immediately. I followed her after leaving work early. When we got there, the dress... God, I will never forget the sight. The stain was everywhere. It looked intentional, like someone had poured it slowly, making sure it soaked deep into every layer of fabric. Adam stood in the hallway with his arms crossed, looking annoyed that everyone was overreacting. He even had the audacity to say, "It's just a dress." Emma didn't scream at him. She didn't cry in front of him either. She just looked at the dress, then at Adam, and said, quietly, painfully, "You did this on purpose." Adam rolled his eyes so hard it was almost theatrical. "Why would I ruin your stupid dress? Think about it. That makes zero sense." But it did make sense, because 2 nights before, during dinner at our parents' house, Adam had made a comment that suddenly felt like a warning. Some people get so obsessed with weddings that they forget about real life. Kind of pathetic. I confronted him, but he brushed it off as another joke. Now, seeing the dress ruined, that joke replayed in my head like a siren. Emma went home with her maid of honor. I stayed behind, pacing in the kitchen, trying not to punch my brother. My parents demanded he apologize, and he refused. "Fine. Sorry the stupid thing got in the way," he mumbled eventually, staring at the floor. It wasn't an apology. It was gasoline on a fire, and the worst part? We had no idea that this was only the beginning. Emma didn't talk much on the drive home. She just stared out the window with her arms wrapped tightly around herself. I could feel the silence pressing down on us. Heavier than anger, heavier than grief. It was the silence of someone trying not to break. When we finally got to the apartment, she walked straight into the bedroom, closed the door, and didn't come out for nearly an hour. I sat on the couch, replaying everything in my head, trying to figure out how the hell to fix something that felt impossible to fix. When she finally emerged, her eyes were red, but dry. "I'm buying a new dress," she said simply. I nodded immediately. "Of course, anything you want. There isn't time for alterations. I'll have to pick something off the rack." Her voice didn't waver, but it had that hollow ring to it, the one people get when their hopes have cracked open. "Whatever you choose will be perfect," I told her. She gave me a small, tired smile. I'm not sure if she believed me, but she appreciated the effort. The next few days were a blur of dress shops, rushed fittings, and trying to salvage the excitement she once had. The new dress was beautiful, different from the original, but beautiful. It had a soft champagne color and delicate beading that shimmered in the light. Emma didn't cry when she put it on this time. I could tell she wouldn't let herself. All she said was, "This will have to do." But behind her voice was a quiet, simmering pain that I hated myself for not being able to erase. Even after the dress issue seemed solved, tension hung in the air like smoke. My parents tried to play peacekeepers, insisting Adam felt bad and didn't mean it. But every time I saw him, all I could picture was him standing over that dress with that blank expression, like he had just knocked over a cup of water. And the worst part was, he didn't even pretend to feel guilty. He avoided the subject completely. When we saw each other, he'd act like everything was normal. At one point, he even joked, "So, found dress 2.0 yet?" I didn't laugh. He smirked anyway. I should have known then, should have trusted the pit in my stomach, that something was still brewing. The wedding day arrived. It was a small ceremony, held outdoors at a botanical garden that Emma had fallen in love with on our very first visit. The weather was perfect, sunlight filtering through trees, flowers blooming everywhere, the kind of picturesque setting people dream of. Emma looked breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking. When her maid of honor helped her step out of the bridal suite, I swear the whole hallway went quiet. Not just because of the dress, though it sparkled like champagne poured over fresh snow, but because of her. She had a glow that no ruined dress could take away. Her dad teared up instantly. So did most of the bridesmaids. I felt like the luckiest man alive. Everything was moving smoothly, maybe a little too smoothly. Guests gathered, music played softly, people took their seats. My parents looked proud and emotional. Adam, well, I noticed he didn't sit with them. He hung off to the side, arms crossed, wearing an expression I couldn't quite read. I remember thinking, just ignore him. It's your wedding. Today is not about him. The officiant began the ceremony. Emma's father walked her down the aisle, and I swear my heart almost burst out of my chest. When she reached me and took my hands, she whispered, "We made it." I squeezed her fingers. "Nothing is ruining today." If only I had known. The officiant started speaking, warm, heartfelt words about love and commitment. Emma's eyes glistened. Mine probably did too. Then we got to the vows. Emma went first. Her voice was steady, emotional, absolutely perfect. People sniffed quietly. Even the officiant looked misty-eyed. And then, Adam stood up, not from the family row, not discreetly. He stood up in the middle of the aisle, in full view of everyone, and shouted, "Wait! Everyone needs to hear something before you make a huge mistake." The audience gasped. Emma's face drained to pure white. My stomach dropped so hard I felt dizzy. At first I thought, no, he wouldn't actually do this. But Adam kept talking. He took several steps forward, pointing at Emma like she was a suspect in a crime drama. "She's lying to you," he yelled. "Ask her where she really was the night her first dress got ruined." Emma stumbled backward, shaking her head in disbelief. My mother whispered Adam's name in horror. My father stood up like he might physically remove him. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Confusion, shock, judgment. Emma's hand slipped out of mine, and Adam, with a twisted, triumphant smile, added, "Tell them why the dress was at Mom and Dad's." Go on, or should I? He was enjoying this. He was smirking. The ceremony, our wedding, was seconds away from total collapse. And the worst part? I had no idea what he was talking about. None. But he clearly did. For a moment, everything froze. Emma stared at Adam like he had grown horns. Guests twisted in their seats, whispering. The officiant stood frozen with his book half closed. My parents looked like they were about to faint. and Adam just stood there in the center aisle, basking in the attention he had sucked out of the room. I stepped forward. "What the hell are you talking about?" Adam shrugged with exaggerated innocence. "Just trying to help you out, bro. You deserve to know who you're marrying." A stunned gasp rippled through the garden. Emma was shaking, not angry shaking, but the kind that happens when your body is blindsided by humiliation and fear all at once. "Adam," she whispered, voice cracking, "stop." He tilted his head, pretending to be confused. "What? You don't want everyone to know?" "I wonder why." My hands balled into fists. "Say it," I demanded. "If you're going to lie, at least be bold enough to say the lie." He smirked. "Oh, it's not a lie. I heard Emma talking on the phone the night before the dress got ruined, crying, saying she knew this would happen because she wasn't good enough, and that maybe she should postpone the wedding. Sounds like someone who wasn't being honest with you." Emma's jaw dropped. "What? That's not—" "Adam, that wasn't even about the wedding." Adam lifted a hand, silencing her like he was the host of his own damn show. Sure, whatever helps you sleep at night, but hey, maybe the dress wasn't an accident." A wave of murmurs swept the crowd. He was trying to make it sound like Emma ruined her own dress, like she staged it to Towie the wedding, like everything was her fault. It was an insane, baseless accusation. But he said it with such smug confidence that some people actually gasped like it made sense. Emma took one shaky step toward him, voice trembling. "The call you overheard was with my cousin, who just found out she had a miscarriage. I told her I'd be there for her. I said I might postpone the dress fitting, not the wedding, so I could help her. That's what you heard. And you're twisting it." My mom covered her mouth. A few guests audibly muttered, "Oh my God." But Adam wasn't finished. He lifted both hands dramatically. "So, you admit the dress wasn't really important to you then? That you didn't care if something happened to it? Interesting." That's when I snapped. I walked straight toward him, my heartbeat in my ears. "Stop talking." He stepped back but continued smirking. "What? I can't have an opinion now?" "It's not an opinion," I hissed. "You're destroying my wedding on purpose." Adam let out a loud, theatrical laugh. "Your wedding was already a disaster. I'm just making sure you don't make the biggest mistake of your life." Emma's dad moved like he was going to drag Adam out by the collar, but my father grabbed his arm and whispered something like, "Let him handle it," because everyone's eyes were glued to me. "Why are you doing this?" I asked. My voice cracked more than I wanted it to. "Why is my happiness such a threat to you?" For the first time, Adam's mask slipped. Just barely. His jaw tightened. His eyes sparked with something ugly and familiar. Resentment. Jealousy. Something he had been nursing for years. But instead of admitting anything, he doubled down. "Fine," he said, throwing his hands up. "If you want to marry someone who hides things from you, go ahead. I tried to warn you, but don't say I didn't try." "Warn me about what?" I demanded. Adam took a slow, deliberate step back, acting like he was about to drop a bombshell. Then he said the line that still makes my stomach turn. "Ask her why she kept the dress at Mom and Dad's instead of your apartment. Ask her what she was hiding there from you." It was pure manipulation. He knew about the leak. He was there when we talked about it. He was twisting reality to make Emma look deceptive. Emma's eyes filled with tears, not from guilt, but from rage. "I wasn't hiding anything," she cried. "You were the one sneaking around that room. You ruined the dress, and now you're doing this because why, Adam? Because you hate that your brother is happy?" Adam's expression sharpened. For the first time, he looked truly angry. "That's not true," he snapped. "I just don't think she's right for you." "And that gives you the right to sabotage our wedding?" I shouted. "To humiliate her? To ruin something that wasn't yours?" Adam just stared at me with cold, flat eyes. "We're family," he said. "I'm trying to save you from a mistake." Before I could respond, Emma whispered, voice trembling from humiliation, "Do you want to postpone the ceremony?" Her eyes were glassy, her makeup beginning to smudge. Not from tears, she was holding those back with everything she had, but from the sheer emotional pressure crushing her. People were staring. Guests were shifting uncomfortably. Some were even checking their phones, like they were debating leaving. And Adam, my own brother, was standing in the aisle like he was proud of himself, I turned to Emma and grabbed her hands. "No," I said. "I want to marry you today." Her lip trembled. "But not like this," I added. A hush fell over everyone. I turned to the officiant. "Give us 10 minutes." Then I turned back to Adam. "You. Outside. Now." I didn't wait for Adam to answer. I just walked past him, out of the ceremony area, toward a small stone path behind the garden. I heard footsteps behind me, heavy ones. Adam followed, muttering under his breath. When we were finally out of earshot of the guests, I spun around. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I shouted. Adam didn't flinch. He crossed his arms like I was the one being unreasonable. "I told you," he said calmly. "I'm trying to help you. You're too blind to see it." I took a step closer. "Help me? You destroyed Emma's dress. You tried to humiliate her. And now you blew up my ceremony. How is any of that helping?" He rolled his eyes. "Oh my God, the dress again. How many times do I have to say it? It was an accident." "It wasn't an accident," I said. "You know it. I know it. Everyone knows it." Adam's jaw tightened again, just for a split second, but it was enough to confirm everything I'd been suspecting. He had done it on purpose. He wasn't sorry, and he wasn't going to stop. "Why?" I demanded. "Why are you doing this to me?" Adam huffed, irritated, like he was being forced to deal with a child. "Because you're throwing your life away," he said. "Because you're rushing into something you're not ready for. Because she's not—" He stopped. "Not what?" I pushed. He looked away. "Not good enough for you." That was it. Not a secret. Not a lie he had discovered. Not evidence of betrayal. Not anything rooted in reality. He ruined the dress, ruined the ceremony, and humiliated Emma. Because he didn't think she was good enough. My voice dropped low and shaking. "You did all of this because you don't like my fiancée?" Adam shrugged. "Someone had to say it." "No," I said. "Someone had to stop you." There was a long, tense silence. For a moment, I swear Adam expected me to thank him. His expression had that delusional confidence he always wore when he convinced himself he was the victim. But the look on my face must have finally reached him, because his smirk faded. "This is my wedding," I said. "You're my brother, and today should have been about love and family. But you made it about you. Again." Adam scoffed. "Whatever. You're just mad I told the truth." "You didn't tell the truth," I said. "You told a story. One you invented to justify what you did." He shrugged again. "Believe what you want." "No," I said sharply. "You're going to listen." For the first time since this nightmare started, he seemed caught off guard. "You don't get to sabotage my life because you're unhappy with yours," I said. "You don't get to destroy things that aren't yours. You don't get to treat Emma like garbage because you think you're protecting me." Adam opened his mouth to interrupt, but I raised my hand. "And you're not coming back to the ceremony." His eyebrows shot up. "Excuse me?" "You heard me," I said. "You're not taking another step near that aisle. You've done enough damage." Adam laughed, sharp, incredulous. "You're kicking me out? Of your own wedding? Your brother?" "Yes," I said. "Absolutely yes." His laughter stopped abruptly. He took a threatening step forward. "If you do this, we're done. You understand me?" "Done." "Then we're done," I said quietly. "Because I'm done letting you wreck my life." For a moment, I saw something flicker across his face. Shock, maybe fear, maybe realization that I wasn't playing his game anymore. Then anger, cold, vindictive anger. "Fine," he snapped. "Go marry your perfect princess, but don't come crying to me when it all falls apart." And with that, he turned and walked away, muttering under his breath about how everyone would regret ignoring him. When I returned to the ceremony area, the atmosphere was tense. Guests whispered. My parents looked devastated. Emma was standing with her maid of honor, clutching a tissue but refusing to cry. She looked at me with wide, scared eyes. "Where is he?" she asked. "Gone," I said. "And he's not coming back." Emma let out a shaky breath. Not relief exactly, more like a release of dread she'd been holding inside. "Are you sure?" she whispered. "Completely." She nodded, slowly, trying to steady herself. The officiant approached us gently. "Do you still want to continue?" I looked at Emma. She looked at me. And for the first time since Adam stood up, I saw the smallest spark of hope return to her eyes. "Yes," she said, "we do." We returned to the front of the aisle. Guests settled. The officiant opened his book again. And then, just as he cleared his throat to restart, a voice echoed from the garden entrance, loud, mocking, triumphant. "Wait!" Everyone turned, and there stood Adam, holding something white, something torn, something filthy, something unmistakably the ruined wedding dress. Adam stood there like a villain in a bad movie, one hand gripping the hanger, the other spreading the shredded, brown-stained ruins of Emma's first dress for everyone to see. The wood stain had dried into ugly, cracked streaks across the fabric. Some parts were ripped so badly they hung in ribbons. He held it up like he had just unveiled evidence in a courtroom. Gasps erupted across the garden. Emma's knees buckled. Her maid of honor grabbed her before she collapsed. Guests covered their mouths. My mom let out a choked sound, halfway between a sob and a scream. And Adam was smiling. "Just wanted everyone to see what she really thought of this thing," he called out. "I mean, look at it. Who would store something this important in a random guest room unless they knew something was gonna happen to it?" He gave the dress a shake, and one of the ruined sleeves fell to the ground. My father stood up from his seat so fast his chair toppled over. He shouted, "Adam, that's enough!" But Adam didn't even look at him. His eyes were locked on Emma. "This is the real her," he continued loudly. "This is what she hides behind the sweet girl act. She didn't care about this dress. She didn't care about the wedding. She doesn't care about him." He pointed straight at me. "She just wants the attention." The guests erupted into chaos, people whispering, some protesting, a few standing to leave because the drama was too much for them. Emma's face twisted, not with sadness this time, but with a level of rage I had never seen in her, a quiet, breaking, devastating rage. She stepped forward. "Adam," she said, her voice low and trembling, "put that dress down." He snorted. "Why? Embarrassed everyone's seeing the truth?" "That's not the truth," Emma said. "It never has been. You've twisted everything since the moment we got engaged." Adam shrugged. "Whatever helps you feel like you belong in this family." That was it. Emma covered her face with her hands and began to cry. Not loud sobs, but silent, uncontrollable tears that fell slowly down her cheeks. Seeing her break like that finally snapped something inside me so violently that every instinct I had screamed to protect her. I marched toward Adam. He held the dress up like a shield. "Oh, come on, bro. Don't make this dramatic." I was inches from him now. "Drop it," I said. He smirked. "Make me." I didn't raise a fist. I didn't shove him. I didn't even touch him. I simply said, "You're not my brother anymore." Silence slammed down over the entire garden. Adam's smirk faltered. "What?" he scoffed. "Don't be stupid." But there was fear behind the laugh now, panic creeping around the edges. "You heard me," I said. "You're done. You're out of my life, out of this family, out of this marriage, this day, everything." "You don't mean that," he said quickly. "You're upset. I get it. Let's just drop the dress." For the first time, Adam looked genuinely unsure. He glanced at the crowd, at the horrified faces, the disappointment, the disgust. Even his friends sitting toward the back didn't seem to know how to defend him anymore. Then Emma spoke again, softly, painfully. "You ruined it because you couldn't stand to see your brother happy. You did it because you wanted to be the center of attention. Well, look around, Adam. Here you are. And nobody is impressed." Her voice didn't rise. It didn't waver. It cut deeper precisely because of how calm it was. Adam stiffened, his hand loosened, and the destroyed dress slipped from his fingers, falling onto the stone pathway like a dead thing. For a moment, none of us moved. Then my father grabbed Adam by the back of his suit jacket. "Get out," he said through his teeth. "Get out before I drag you out myself." Adam didn't fight this time. He let my father push him toward the exit gate of the garden. On the way out, he looked back at me. Not angry, not smug, but stunned, broken in a way he had brought entirely upon himself. He opened his mouth as if to say something, but then closed it, turned, and walked out of the garden without another word. When the gate finally slammed shut behind him, an enormous wave of silence rippled over the ceremony. The dress lay on the stone like a symbol of everything he had destroyed and everything we had survived. Emma stood trembling, staring at it. I walked to her, wrapped my arms around her, and whispered into her hair, "He can't hurt us anymore, I promise." She pressed her face into my chest and let out a weak, shaking breath. "I just want this day to be ours," she whispered. "Not his." "It will be," I said. "From now on, only ours." The officiant cleared his throat gently. "Shall we try again?" We returned to our places. The guests settled once more, stunned and still whispering. And just when it seemed we could finally restart, a phone rang. Not a normal ringtone, a loud, blaring alarm tone. Everyone's heads whipped around. It was coming from the stone pathway, from the pile of ruined fabric. Emma's destroyed dress was ringing. For a moment, I thought I was hallucinating. The sound, the blaring metallic alarm, echoed through the garden and bounced off the stone walls. Guests twisted in their seats, confused, annoyed, startled. The officiant blinked several times, unsure whether to pause or pretend nothing was happening. Emma froze beside me, staring at the ruined bundle of fabric like it might come alive. Then her maid of honor whispered, "Is that coming from the dress?" The alarm kept ringing, shrill, insistent, impossible to ignore. I took a few steps toward it, every muscle in my body tensing. Emma grabbed my hand, terrified, but I gave her a small, reassuring nod. I crouched beside what used to be her wedding dress, now a stained, shredded heap on the stone path. I pushed aside the fabric carefully, and there, stuffed deep inside one of the inner layers, I found a small silver phone. A flip phone. A burner. I heard several guests gasp. My hands shook as I picked it up. The screen flashed with an incoming call. Unknown number. Emma covered her mouth with both hands. "Though, what is that?" she whispered. I swallowed hard. "I don't know." The phone rang again, vibrating against my palm like it was alive. Against my better judgment, I flipped it open. "Hello?" I said cautiously. At first, silence. Then a robotic voice, distorted and metallic, said, "Told you she was hiding something." My heart dropped into my stomach. Behind me, Emma stepped back like she'd been struck. What is that? Who is that?" The voice continued. "Ask her who this phone belongs to." My blood went cold. Guests gasped. Someone muttered, "Oh my God." Emma shook her head violently. "I've never seen that phone in my life. I swear to God." I believed her, completely, but right then wasn't about what I believed. It was about what a random crowd of onlookers could be manipulated into thinking. I spoke into the phone again, anger boiling up. "Adam, I know it's you." A beat, then the voice distorted again, deeper but unmistakably mocking. "You didn't listen, now everyone knows." The line clicked dead. The phone went silent. I stared at it in my hand in disbelief. Guests whispered louder now. Was she hiding something? Did Adam plant it? Is this part of the drama? What is going on? Emma fell to her knees, gripping her head. "I didn't do this," she cried. "I didn't do anything. He's setting me up. He planted it. He must have planted it in the dress before he ruined it." Her maid of honor rushed to her. "Everyone knows this is him. No one thinks this is you." But that wasn't true. Some guests looked horrified on Emma's behalf. Others looked skeptical. Worse, some looked interested, leaning forward like they were watching a reality show. That was the problem with chaos. People loved it too much to think rationally. I threw the flip phone onto the ground like it was poison. I didn't care if it shattered. I didn't care if it broke into 100 pieces. Let it die. Emma trembled in my arms. Her makeup was smudged, her eyes red, her breathing uneven. "This was supposed to be the happiest day of my life," she whispered. "Why is he doing this to us? Why won't he stop?" I held her tighter. "Because he wants attention, because he wants control, because he can't stand the idea that you mean something to me." I paused. "Because he hates himself far more than he ever hated you." When Emma finally stood again, her entire body was shaking. She wasn't broken, but she was close. and seeing her like that made something inside me crystallize. A line was drawn that I would never erase. I grabbed the microphone from the officiant. The guests fell silent. Emma stared at me, confused, afraid. I turned to the crowd. My brother planted that phone. A few people shifted uncomfortably. He planted it to ruin this day, to humiliate Emma, to hurt me, because he can't control himself, and because he refuses to get help. I looked around, making eye contact with every face I could. This wedding is not about drama. It's not about attention. It's not about him. It's about our love. And if anyone here thinks this chaos defines Emma or defines us, then you are free to leave right now. A ripple went through the guests. No one stood. I took Emma's hand in mine. We're going to finish this ceremony, I said. Not because everything is perfect, but because nothing, not a dress, not a phone, not sabotage, can take away the fact that we choose each other. Emma's breathing steadied. Her eyes softened. Her father stepped forward, voice loud and clear. If anyone here questions my daughter's character, answer to me. That shut down the last of the whispers. The officiant, still visibly shaken, nodded and lifted his book. Shall we try again? He asked. Emma nodded. Yes, I nodded. Absolutely. We took our places again. The music restarted, soft and hesitant at first. The guests, finally quiet, leaned in. The ceremony began again. And for 2 beautiful, fragile minutes, everything held together until someone screamed, a loud, panicked scream from behind the last row of chairs. We all turned, a guest stumbled backward, pointing toward the reception tent. And there, standing in the shadows, was Adam, holding something small, something rectangular, something black, a camera. Adam stood half hidden in the shadows of the tent, hair disheveled, face flushed, suit covered in dust from being shoved out earlier. He held the camera up, not even trying to hide it. Not a phone, not a burner. A full DSLR camera, the kind with a long lens and a mounted mic. Guests gasped. Someone shouted, "Is he recording this?" A bridesmaid swore under her breath. Emma's hands flew to her mouth. I stepped toward him, but Emma grabbed my arm. "Don't," she whispered. "He wants you to chase him." She was right. Adam just stood there, grinning like the twisted finale of his own show. "Well," he called out, projecting his voice, "if this wedding's going to be a disaster, might as well make it memorable. Thought I'd get some footage. You know, family memories." My father thundered, "Put that camera down!" But Adam didn't. If anything, he raised it higher, adjusting the focus like he was filming a documentary about his own downfall. He started talking, loud, manic, half laughing. "I mean, come on. You all saw the dress, the phone, the drama. This is gold. And you..." He pointed the camera directly at Emma. "You played your part perfectly, crying, screaming, all of it. You could win an Oscar." Emma's breath hitched painfully. Her maid of honor cursed out loud. The guests, to their credit, finally shifted. Not away from Emma, but away from Adam. People stood, forming a barrier, blocking his view. A few men moved toward him, not aggressively, but protectively, and unspoken enough. But Adam still didn't stop. "You all think she's innocent?" he yelled. "You think she's perfect? You don't know anything." He stepped forward, waving the camera. "You think she loves him? Really loves him? You think she's..." The camera slipped, just a little. His hand shook. His voice cracked for the first time all day. "You think she deserves all of this?" It was like watching a mask crumble in real time. The smug confidence melted into something tortured, frantic, desperate. He wasn't filming for entertainment. He wasn't trying to expose a lie. He was trying to justify his own pain. I stepped forward, not to yell, not to fight, not to drag him out, just to speak. "Adam," I said quietly, "why are you doing this to yourself?" He flinched like the words physically struck him. "This isn't about Emma," I said, "or the dress, or some fake phone call. This is about you hating your own life, and instead of fixing it, you tried to burn mine down so you wouldn't be alone in the wreckage." Adam swallowed hard. His grip on the camera tightened. "You think I want your life?" he snapped, but his voice was smaller now, less certain. "I think you want a life," I said, "and you don't know how to build one." Silence. Even the wind stopped moving. Emma took a step forward, brave, heartbroken, steady. "You could have been part of our lives," she said softly. "We tried. We wanted you there. But you chose to hurt us instead of letting us in." Something flickered in Adam's eyes, a raw, frightened sorrow. He looked away. Then suddenly the fight left him. Completely. His arm dropped, the camera dangled uselessly at his side, and then he shattered. Not loudly, not dramatically, he just crumpled. His shoulders caved, his chest shook. Tears, real, exhausted tears, slipped down his face for the first time in years. He whispered, choking on the words, "I didn't want to be nothing." That hit harder than any accusation he'd thrown, because underneath the cruelty, underneath the sabotage, underneath the chaos, Adam wasn't a villain. He was a lonely, jealous, broken person who didn't know how to ask for help. My father approached him slowly, cautiously. "Son," he began, but Adam stepped back, shaking his head. No, I ruined everything. I ruined everything." He let the camera fall. It hit the ground with a thud. "I'll go," he whispered. "Just pretend I wasn't here." Before any of us could say a word, he turned and walked out of the garden for the last time, head down, pace slow, almost defeated. No one chased him, no one screamed. We let him go because staying would have only hurt him more, and us. The ceremony? Emma and I returned to the front. The officiant's hands trembled, but he cleared his throat. "Let's begin," he said softly. This time no one interrupted. Emma's vows came out shaky at first, then stronger, full of love, fear, hope, and truth. I spoke mine through tears I didn't bother to hide. When the officiant pronounced us husband and wife, the guests erupted into applause. Not polite, not formal, but relieved, joyful, supportive, like they were cheering for our survival, not just our marriage. We kissed, and that kiss felt like reclaiming something stolen from us. The aftermath. The reception was smaller than planned. Some guests went home shaken, but the people who stayed danced, laughed, hugged, and made sure our day still had light. My parents apologized through tears. Emma's family surrounded us with love. Her maid of honor made sure Emma drank water and ate cake. We slow danced under string lights, her head on my chest, my hand on her waist, both of us exhausted and grateful. And sometime late that night, after the music died down and the guests began leaving, Emma whispered, "I'm glad we didn't give up." I kissed her forehead. "We won't ever." Epilogue. Adam didn't speak to us for months, not out of anger, out of shame. Eventually he reached out, quietly, cautiously, asking for help, real help. Therapy, medication, accountability. The road was long. He stumbled many times. But he's trying. We're not close yet. Not really. But we're talking, healing in slow, uneven steps. Emma forgave him, not instantly, not easily, but genuinely. And our marriage, stronger than anything he tried to break. Because at the end of the day, the wedding wasn't defined by the dress, the chaos, or the ruined ceremony. It was defined by the moment we chose each other. Over fear, over pain, over sabotage, over everything. And that choice, we'd make it again. Every single time.